Hey, let me come in. I want to show you something cool. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about Street Fighter Alpha 2. The Alpha Zero series is amazing as a whole, so 2 might seem like a weird place to start. We could go back to where it all began with the first game, or jump straight into the amazing roster that 3 has to offer. The simple truth is, I'm playing favorites. Not favorite game, mind you, but through random chance it ended up being one of the most influential sources for learning art in my entire life. It's not hyperbole at all to say that this channel and the comic it's attached to would not even exist if not for Alpha 2. And it wasn't even the game itself that made this happen. We couldn't really afford it. As mentioned in part 1 of Lunar Eternal Blue, game magazines and guidebooks were much easier resources to get a hold of at that time, so after finding a guide for Alpha 2 with tons of production art, it became a go-to for learning how to draw. With this channel's pseudo-mascot, Ami, still occasionally rocking a costume meant to resemble the movie's variant. You know the phrase, "you can never go home again"? This right here is that concept in digital form. Released in 1996, this game is a bit old school, and it shows in the command inputs. I had gotten so used to the timing in modern fighters, and the leeway they give you in inputs, that I actually stopped during the first run to find another controller, cause it felt broken. No, that is not sarcasm. On top of that, the version of Alpha 2 I eventually was able to get my hands on back in the day was the SNES variant, which was purposely built different to allow much easier play. In fact, every version of this game is slightly different, which is why this time around we're going with the US release. This one has several balance changes, an art gallery, and includes the addition of Evil Ryu, EX Dawson, and Zangief, while removing the 2v1 dramatic battle that's seen in the original. It was then re-released as 02- or Gold, with even more balance changes and the addition of Cammy being playable. And just to make things a bit more complicated during this Chun-Li run, she also has 2 variants in this game, with her classic costume and playstyle being a billion times easier to use. You will see me struggling during this run to pull off the most basic inputs with our girl, but when playing Classic, all of a sudden I no longer suck at the game. This era of 2D fighting is generally better on Saturn, and fortunately, I was able to pick most of these up later as an adult, at just the right time before scalpers ruined the game collecting market for everyone. Unfortunately, it's been sitting unused for years, collecting dust, like my cock. Also, it's kinda short, and may not be able to keep up with the young guys, but it's still enjoyable for the entire family. I'm talking about the game. The gang's all here and ready to go, with the roster from Alpha 1 returning, along with 5 new additions. Both Zangief and Dawson returned from Street Fighter 2 with new sprites, along with Gen from Street Fighter 1, and the series debut of Rolento. But, arguably the best girl of the bunch is Sakura. They wanted a Kid Ryu, not that Kid Ryu, and it worked. Pretty sure I played her more than any of the buff muscle bros. Except Birdie, I love that guy. Even without the insane character selection in 3, we've got one of the best offerings in the series. However, we've already got a date with a very special lady. Staying on theme, I am not that great with this character. The appreciation comes from her artwork and designs. She got much more love than the rest of the cast, so became a go-to when trying to learn the human figure. And it's an amazing figure to emulate, still draw inspiration from her design even now, making her the Sonic to my Chris-chan, if you will. Wait, Sonic Boom? No, that's a Kikoken. Alpha Chun-Li has her projectiles and air hikes, but that spinning bird kick is nowhere to be found, replaced with her cool flippy kicks, which I kinda love, along with her not Bumblebee Sting anti-air. All around pretty solid, especially when you sneak in her classic Thunder Thigh kicks. Speaking of nice legs, our first matchup is against Mistress Rose, another fighter I really need to spend more time with, and we might go that direction in the future with 5. In this early stage, she is little threat, but Rose does have great zoning and distance control, even able to throw your own projectiles back at you. Constant pressure from the inside is her enemy. Rose has terrible movement options and isn't the fastest. The real key is to never let a Rose player go on the offensive where they have the advantage. As a side note, it is criminal that they removed this scene from her SNES ending. But you know what's even worse? Rolento's face. Much better. Never been a fan of this guy, but if you're all about cowardice and deception, then he's for you, though I don't know why you would admit that publicly. His skills include running, hiding, crawling like a toddler, and occasionally doing a sonic spin dash. Plus, he brings weapons of war to a martial arts tournament, 'cause he's a little bitch. No pro strats here. He's a trash character. Just close your eyes and press buttons at random. You will win. Up next is Player 2. Do we really need an explanation on Ken? He's the second most popular character in the series next to Ryu, sitting right above Angry Ryu and Teen Girl Ryu. What we should talk about is this amazing pool party. We've got Morgan looking lovely as ever, Captain Commando and crew, Lynn from AVP, with Felicia rolling in on Lord Raptor along with Hyenko and her sister Lily. Even Strider Hiryu was able to fly in for the party. There's a few more Capcom characters here, but we're only shouting out the VIP invites. Can you guess Ken's go-to move? I'm sure you can. And unlike the movie, it actually does damage, so be careful with jump-ins. There's probably a better method to dealing with this guy, but in 5, I usually bait people into throwing that Shoryu, allowing a heavy counter or throw, and that kinda works here, although the AI is less spammy with it than an online matchup. Up next is Zangief. My bad, it's Gen, which is perfect because it means we can make fun of that shitty live-action movie. These cameo fights are kinda special, unlocked by ending your matches with supers and going undefeated for several rounds. I forgot how many, but you'll figure it out. Gen is not long for this world, and sees Chun-Li as a possible apprentice he can pass his knowledge to, but she's a bit busy trying to find out what happened to her dad. Spoiler alert, they already told us in Street Fighter 2. Would suggest playing defensively. He's got really good counters that lead into combos, and has a great forward momentum with his specials. Gen can also change stance to throw you off, so just focus on blocking and those returns. The Red Cyclone has arrived, and this version is pretty fun to play, and even funner as he got rebalanced into the Versus series over the next few games. Not much to say, since if you play fighting games at all, you already know what to do. Hit first, hit fast, control the distance, and no matter what, do not let this man get a hold of you. That doesn't mean you shouldn't get close, just be a better judge of distance than I was in this playthrough, and poke that bear. Hey, check out this poser. Sodom, or Katana if you're playing the censored version, fights like he hasn't got a plan, charging in and hoping for the best. Raging bullshit over here is bottom of the barrel, worst character in the game, and is beaten down pretty easy with some counters and jump-ins. Remember how I trashed Rolento just a moment ago? Well, this guy sucks so much, he makes Rolento look S tier. I would rather be forced to main Dan. Hey buddy, good timing. Dan is the man, and he looks great in pink, the best color. We all know he's a joke character, but if you think that doesn't mean he's worth playing, then the laugh is on you. In current day, he may be a washed-up old man, begging his former students for money, but back in Alpha, he was a washed-up young man, out for revenge. Revenge against the man who killed his father, with a wound so deep it could only be healed through trolling. We are in the home stretch, and Ryu is not playing around, with a difficulty shift that makes it feel more like a mini-boss. We already know the strategy. This is the 4th Ryu we have fought this run, but that still doesn't mean it'll be easy. The Hadroukens are going to come fast, and so will the anti-airs if you mistime your jumps. Even worse, if he has meter, then Ryo is 100% using the EX counter. Getting aggressive in this one only seemed to get me countered. Stay calm. It's supposed to be more difficult than the previous fights. Play some footsie, sneak in a jab and run. Ryu has never been all that fast, so if you weave in and out, it throws him off his game.
Yes, I killed your father. What is it with you women anyway? I killed my father too, and you don't hear me whining about it.
It's the dictator himself, M. Vega, master of the Psycho Cruiser. He thirsts for more power while seeking world domination, but I get the feeling he's really just trying to impress the girls. This version of Bison is comically non-threatening compared to other entries. Even Zero Three's variant would put him to shame. Maybe it's a playstyle thing, but his defensive baiting does him more harm than good, and with a little reverse Uno you can poke him into using his specials, all of which leave room for a counter. A bit anticlimactic, this was supposed to be an epic 1v1 with the ultimate badass, but for me...
It was Tuesday.
And yes, I am aware that if I were a real gamer girl, then we would be seeing Shinakuma kicking my ass right now, being the real challenge fight of the game. You'll have to forgive me for being a little rusty. It's been maybe 20 years since I've played this. Running off to replace his tampon, Bison tries to get the last word in, telling Chun-Li he was totes playing around, and will fight her for real the next time. Sure guy, you let her kick your ass. You were only pretending to be a complete pussy. These endings are kinda great, giving us several illustrated scenes which still look amazing today, even if a little pixelated. And while we like to make fun of 90s fighting games for lacking a story, and will continue to do so, Alpha 2 went above and beyond with how much content it gives you. Regardless of the bias, there's a good reason Zero 2 is often referred to as the best in its series. 3 has that gigantic roster, but many do not like the ism system. And while it may be packed with fan favorites from the series, many were rushed at the last minute, with some like T-Hawk being nearly unplayable. We've still got half the cast to cover, but we also have 2 more games in the series, and we will hit every one of them when their turn comes. Some sooner than later, since I am currently eyeing an X-Men vs Street Fighter run. Had started some layouts for an animated opening, but I think that might throw the style off in future intros, so for now, we've got some new art of the Versus girls hanging out in the credits. We'll most likely animate it later, but for now we're just testing the look, and we have a schedule to keep. So keep an eye out, cause it'll only be a few days till we hit another game, and I will catch you in the next one.